Hi guys, so a recap on what is happening in Congo, and you have to forgive me, tafadhali naomba msamaha. I have this common cold, niko na homa, so I won't be able to make more of this video to get to you as fast as possible. So the latest news that I got is that the Congolese military intelligence have caught some Rwandan Defense Force soldiers who had infiltrated or embedded themselves inside the EACRF, the East African Regional Force that is headed by the Kenyan troops in Goma, to spy on the Congolese government and pass information to the M23. So these soldiers were asked to go back to Rwanda, and I'm going to make a detailed video to tell you how the Rwandan side and the M23 spies on the Congolese government. Now, this video here, the one that I'm showing you right now, the guy is an M23 spokesperson. His name is John Imani Nzenze. And if you look closely, he's donning or wearing a maroon or red beret with a bluish seal, a coat of arms. So this bluish seal with a tiger and a spear and an ivory is a Congolese army or Congolese government seal, right? So what does this mean? It is a symbol that John Imani Nzenze and some of these M23 commanders were once part of the Congolese army, the FARDC. But it's also provocation, because imagine you're going to negotiate with a rebel group being supported by a neighboring country and they come donning your government insignia. So it's a provocation to the FARDC. But that's not the point of the discussion here. The point being, these guys were part of the Congolese army. And before I tell you how it happened, is that you have to understand these guys come from a community called the Tutsi, and they say that they're being persecuted. But the other thing you have to understand is that M23 has these demands that they want to be part of the Congolese army once again. They want to be reinstated back to the Congolese army, and they also want to retain the same rank they have inside the M23. So if someone is a major inside the M23, they want to retain that rank once they join the FARDC. So that is not something that is easy to do, right? Now back to the community. These Tutsis, nowadays in Congo we call them Banyamulenge, but they are the same people. They are usually found around Minembwe. They are found around Fizi, Uvira, that is South Kivu. Then the North Kivu region like Masisi, near this town they recently captured called Kitchanga. So these guys, the total of them are less than 250,000. So some data, World Bank estimates them to be 220 to 250,000 in the whole of Congo. Remember, Congo has a population of between 98 to 100 million. So these guys do not make up even 1% of the population of Congo, but they want to be given more than a fifth of government positions. So they were saying that they want to be included in the government in Kinshasa. They need to have generals in the army. They also want to have several ministers. They also want basically to be part of the government and decision making. Now, the reason why they're saying this is you have to go back to when Laurent Kabila, you remember Kabila the senior, he was assisted by Rwanda and Congo and Uganda to remove the dictator Mobutu. And once they got power in Kinshasa, these guys, the Banyamulenge and the Tutsis, were the ones in control. They were giving themselves positions. It reached a point where the president Kabila was not even in control, and when he tried to basically be assertive, they assassinated him. And then his son Joseph Kabila was appointed or elected. I don't know what happened. He became president somehow, and he was so scared he became a puppet of Paul Kagame and these guys. So he appointed the generals from this community. He appointed the police chiefs, including very recently, I think the current police chief in Kinshasa is a Tutsi from this community. I'm not sure whether he was removed or he's still in the office. So that is what happened. But then it reached a point where the government of Joseph Kabila in 2011 started removing them because they were demanding so much. They continued demanding even political positions and such and such. So he started firing them, and that's why they formed M23 for the same reason. The current president Felix Tshisekedi of course he doesn't trust them, so he has been firing those who are left, the remnants. And that's why now they have decided to do what they are doing, attacking and creating chaos, to be included in government by fire, by force. Why? Because they are a minority, and they know through democracy their people cannot be elected to this position, so they have to use the gun. After all that detailed history, though short, now you understand what I'm going to say next. So you recall I've told you about the EACRF, the East African Regional Force headed by the Kenyan troops in Goma. We also have the Burundi Army or Burundi Troops, 700 of them in the southern Kivu region. We also have the South Sudanese, also again I think 700 of them. And now it turns out there were some few Rwandan Defense Forces who joined this EACRF or this East African Regional Force to work alongside their Kenyan counterparts in Goma. And I think I saw some of them when I saw this video where General Nyaga, the head or the commander of the Kenyan forces in that region, was giving or was meeting the M23 delegation for the first time. I saw some Rwandan troops in the background, and they obviously were not part of the M23, so they were there because of EACRF. So now it turns out the Congolese military intelligence has caught them passing information to the M23. So are you understanding what this means? It means that some people the Rwandans had infiltrated the East African Regional Force to be stealing information and pass it to the M23 rebels. And that's why these rebels are always 2 steps ahead. The other thing now takes us back to the story I was telling you. Turns out among the Congolese army, because most people have been asking, how comes the Congolese army, one of the most powerful armies in Africa, with more than 400,000 troops, number 5 on the African continent, how comes it's being defeated by a smaller group of rebels supported by a tiny country? So the answer is simple. Among or inside the Congolese army, we still have these Banyamulenge and the Tutsi people in there. Some of them hold top ranking positions, and they steal information, they spy on their own now government in quotes, and pass this information to the likes of John Imani Nzenze. So they pass information to the M23, and that's why the M23 or the Congolese army are always caught unaware by the M23. So we understand the very biggest threat is that we have these people in the police, in the army, even in the Congolese government. The ones we know are the top guys, the guys like now the police chief, the generals, but we do not know the ones who are holding low-ranking positions, but they are there. And the problem started with the Kabilas. Joseph Kabila and his father started this problem in Congo.